How much do you think the issues matter in this election opposed to the candidates? For example, immigration, Republicans seem to be winning on that issue. Women's rights, Democrats do. So how much does that matter versus I want to vote for President Biden, I want to vote for former President Donald Trump?
Great question. So I think issues matter. I really do. I think they always matter. The political class tends to discount this, especially these days, and basically say it's all a popularity contest, right? Or it's a referendum on one person versus another, right? I think there's some major issues. The one that's got everyone's attention, I think is fair to say, right now is immigration. And there was a recent observation, which I actually concur with, which is if President Biden is kind of underwater on that issue versus Donald Trump by 20 points, there's an argument he could still win. But if he's 30 points underwater or more, he probably is done. Right now, I'm seeing polls showing he's 35 points below the mark against the former president on immigration, which I don't think has an easy fix. You saw him head for the border recently, as did Donald Trump, right? Dueling press conferences on the border. And I guarantee you're going to hear this from the president as he starts to move down the campaign trail. I think you're going to hear tougher language from President Biden on the border. But I'm not sure that that's going to be enough to curtail the perception America has that illegal immigration isn't now any longer just a Texas issue or an Arizona issue. It's an American issue. And you're seeing that in poll after poll, even in the heartland of America, where people are kind of freaking out. The other issue you mentioned is abortion. I think the Alabama ruling by the Supreme Court justice really rattled a lot of people, especially Republicans, frankly, which is why the legislature and Republicans in the Alabama legislature quickly rallied to try to legally protect women who are seeking IVF and trying to have children. And without that, the Alabama case, we'll call it, left unresolved, left unaddressed by Republicans, could have been a major issue, I think, in the national election. I think it's less of one now. It's still an issue, but I thank God common sense, in my opinion. Common sense prevailed over someone, basically was trying to communicate he was speaking for God.
You did mention at the top of that response there the dueling border trips, same-day trips from President Biden and former President Donald Trump. Do you think there were any winners and losers on that trip? Do you think it was performative? Did it move the needle in any way?
President Biden had to go to the border. He couldn't keep sending down, Vice President Kamala Harris and thinking he was doing something. He had to go there to show at least seriousness of intent. But he's got the burden of proof now. The Democrats will say, well, under President Trump, there are still a lot of issues with illegal immigration. Absolutely. But the issues have grown worse. When you talk about 3 million people, legal immigrants coming over the border in the last year under President Biden, that's the here and now. The referendum on legal immigration will be a referendum on the current administration's policies, not Donald Trump's. And I don't see any easy fix to this, any easy way to get out from underneath that. You've seen all the press that the governor of Texas has generated as he is trying to demand the front line at Eagle Pass, right, and elsewhere. But I think this is a real problem for President Biden without an easy solution.